Welcome to Real Money Talks. Real strategies from the moneymakers and the world changers that you can use to make millions, keep those millions, multiply your wealth, and build your team. Here's your host, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View, Loral Langemeier.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Loral's Real Money Talks and Loral's weekly market awareness live stream. Very happy to have you here on this historic episode encounter, the 100th podcast episode. Very happy to have you all here joining us. A very special guest who's going to be joining us in a few moments. But very excited to have you here, excited on having you participate in Loral's conversation and changing your conversation about money. For this historic episode, I want to see where you're joining us, whether it's social platforms, whether it's our Zoom room, or anywhere across the globe. I want to know where you're coming from and what your biggest, well, I'll put it to you, Loral. What's the biggest thing you want to hear from them today as we celebrate this 100th episode?
I would like to know, because we had such an overwhelming response, which I figured we would, because I'm bringing back, the one and only Bob Proctor, who has been not only a dear friend, mentor for years, business partner in many cases. So where are you dialing in from? We had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of folks that were registered to hear Bob and my conversation today. So go ahead and put in where you're calling in from. I'm seeing a lot of, our regular folks who are regular followers, and I've seen some new folks. Oh, and I've seen some older folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. Super excited to have you. Super excited to have this conversation. So, and thank you for celebrating my podcast. So, years ago, we launched the podcast. It was 2 years ago. And I know we've had a couple resets. We're actually in the process of doing kind of an overhaul and an upgrade even to what we're doing. So Thomas is going to put in the link. So Thomas, tell them where to go. If you are not listening to my podcast, tell them where to go. So the social channels can hear it as well. We'll put it in the chat and on audio.
For you to catch up with the previous 99 episodes, you want to go to realmoneytalkspodcast.com. That's going to take you straight to the Apple iTunes store, where you'll be able to listen to those episodes. And Laura, I know you want to talk a little bit about some of the amazing guests that you have had on the podcast before, but some high-level names, really incredible content out there that focuses on and showcases your expertise on telling people how to change their conversation about money. So again, realmoneytalkspodcast.com. Download the episodes. Also leave us a review. Let us know what you think about it. Let us know why it's worth 5 stars.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is please leave us a review. It is probably one of the most important things if you're enjoying it. Leave us a review. And the other part, if you want to continue to get them, make sure that you actually click on for the notifications. So every week we come live. So it's the end of every week. We are in a weekly podcast structure. It's approximately 30 minutes for those of you who have not known about it. And we do want you to share it. So again, give us a review, put on notifications that you get it every week, and share it with a lot of other people. So we, again, are doing an overhaul and an upgrade to the podcast as we move into the next 100 episodes. And some of the past, and those of you who are thinking, well, should I become a client? What's Loral's talk track about? What does she really learn about? We have an event coming this weekend, and we are getting a link, and we are going to gift you all a free ticket. So just in celebration, and it's only for those that were here. So we'll put a link in the chat. Thomas and the social teams can put it out into those chats. You have to call into the office. I'm only asking for 13 hours of your time. It's Thursday from 10 to 6 and Friday from 10 to 3. And it's 13 hours of your time to let me and our expert senior team change your life and change your life with money. And if you've been before, then you just call in, talk to our team, whether it makes sense for you to go or just come to the marketplace parts. Have a conversation. Let's just stay in a conversation. Let's talk about the podcast, though. The podcast is a super celebration for this week. We're super excited that we've hit that episode. Some of the leading, obviously Bob Proctor, right? One of the greatest interviews, and it's actually a 2-part interview. We're going to be replaying his interview within the next few months. It was just so pivotal. I just got off literally 10 minutes ago with a gentleman who will be in about 3 weeks from now. His name's Peter Sage. Peter worked with Tony Robbins for 15 years. he did a very interesting stint in prison that he talked about on the podcast that I didn't even know about. Just a world-class man, lives in the Canary Islands. I got to go visit him. Love the Canary Islands. Some other really hot topics. Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street, also a dear friend. He wanted to come today, out on a family vacation this week with his his fam. So he will be back, and we're just going to continue a couple of those series. Jim Laskow. So Jim is Bitcoin Radio, owns the radio show on Amazon, and is a billionaire that we think. He's very, very private about who he is and how he does what he does, but he is just pivotal in the world of digital currency and shaping it and really having it become a very usable currency. Love Jim. That interview is phenomenal. And just amazing other people. I mean, just, oh my gosh, like who else? I mean, I have had so many Sharon Lecter, of course, is out there. Others that are coming up that are going to be in review is I have Brian Tracy, Les Brown coming, Mark Victor Hansen. So we got a lot coming in Q3 and 4 of 2021. And when you sign up, you can go back and listen to all of them. So like Thomas said, there's 99 prior episodes, a lot of amazing content. The other side of it, it's not all interview format. The podcast is called Loral's Real Money Talks, and it's a podcast about the Millionaire Matrix. How do you make money, keep money, invest money with a team, right? Those of you who've been around a while, you know the matrix components, which are those 4 categories of conversation. So there is marketing conversations. Glenn Ledwell's coming up. He's actually going to be up in the next few weeks. If you don't know Glenn, he is Mind Movies and an 8-figure producer in the digital marketing space. I got Perry Belcher back out in the original interviews. I got a lot of people. I mean, it's been, several years in the making. I mean, to get 100 episodes is about 2 years, right? There's 52 weeks. So we're at about a 2-year mark. You can almost put those side by side. So please subscribe. Again, you go to, is it Loral's Real Money Talks? It's actually Real Money Talks Podcast, correct, Thomas? I always say that link because
that is correct. RealMoneyTalksPodcast.com. Again, we'll get you straight to the Apple Store. Leave us a review. Let us know why it's worth 5 stars, because it's definitely changed your conversation about money.
Yep. And then also over at AskLoral.com, if you want to see who I can dig out of this little Rolodex of mine for an interview, make a request. Ask a question and make a request. That's what AskLoral.com is for. At any time in your life, I don't care what hour of the day or where you are in the world, if you have a question about money, you go to AskLoral.com, put in your information. Somebody on our team will be getting back to you and calling you, actually, and texting or emailing, whatever your preference is, to make sure that your questions are asked are answered, asked to me and the senior team, and for sure answered. If you're not getting those answers, we apologize. If you haven't gotten those answers, we will be digging through them and making sure we get back to you. Also making requests. So I always like to hear, who else would you like? So let's do that really quick right now in the chat. Who would you like me to go interview? Right? And just some of them I can get, some of them are Fantasy Island, and maybe I can and maybe I can't. Mind Movies is phenomenal. We actually had a Mind movie made about the company and the vision of who we were and who we are. And I mean, what year was that, Thomas, when we did that? I had Glenn and Natalie go through and do a whole vision of Live Out Loud. And
that was usually 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so Glenn is amazing. Hi, Jenna, great to see you out here. And so Jack Canfield, got Raymond Aaron, for sure, podcast. I have her on the Granum podcast. We are working on Grant Cardone, just so you know. So if you know, if you're going to put him in, I already know about that. And yeah, I love John. John and I have our masterminds with Bob Proctor, for sure can get him. Dean Graziosi, he's not difficult. I can get Dean too. Tony, we'll see. And Jack, fairly certain I can get him too. So a lot of it, works. We'll get him when we get him. That's how a lot of this works. Same with me onto their podcast. So we'll get him when we get him. And I will be on theirs as well. So appreciate you all being here, celebrating the 100th podcast of Loral's Real Money Talks. And please go subscribe. And again, like Thomas said, leave a review. That is the most important gift you could give me in the celebration of our podcast, our reviews. And then for those of you in the future, click on the notifications so you continue to get them every week. And we are on iHeartRadio. So we just landed over there. So you might have to dig pretty deep for me at this point, but our goal is to rise to the top of a lot of these podcast channels and be up in the top 50. That's my goal. My goal in the next year would be to jam and be out in the top 50. So excited that you are here. And I do have Sharon Lecter. She's already there, and she is my financial mom, so I can always have her back. And she's going to be writing the foreword to our book on the how to make your kids millionaires. So looking forward. That launch is now moved to April and solidified. So April's Financial Literacy Month, and we will be launching our book. Kyle and I'll be launching our book then. So appreciate you all being out here. Super excited, super fun day, celebration day of the 100th podcast. And no better company than my dear friend, greatest mentor, longest mentor, became business partners for a while, as Mr. Bob Proctor just joined us. So how are you, Bob?
Great, Laurel. How are you? Sounds like you're rocking and shaking it.
We are rocking and shaking. It's so good to see you. How's your new home? Catch everybody up on what you've been up to. You've been like...
You know, I'm moving in today.
Oh, are you?
Today. We tore the other place down. And we built a brand new house. It is phenomenal. We had one of the best designers you'll ever find. You got to come and see it.
I will.
It is really special. Yeah.
What's your favorite room or aspect of your new home?
You know, there's so many different parts to it. There's so many different really beautiful parts. The ceilings are the way they've designed the ceilings. There's little troughs all around the edge. There's lights in them, LDC lights. It's just a beautiful building, honest to God. It's one of the prettiest places. There's a lady that designs here. We never give her any budget, and we didn't give her any directions. We said, just make it beautiful, and they sure did.
That's awesome.
And the builder is the same builder that built the studio. I'm in a studio. We have our own TV station here. We can broadcast all over the world from here. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Bob, what everyone loves to hear from you the most, let's jump right in, is, as I'm making millionaires, they get stuck, and they get stuck in their mindset. They get stuck in their pattern. Talk about the subconscious mind to our amazing, over 400 folks subscribed to be here today and listening. So excited. We are out on every social channel.
Hold on, Scott, can you pull that screen up on here? Let me show you something. Let's say this is the mind, and this is the body. This is the conscious mind. Here's your subconscious mind. When you build an idea here in your conscious mind and you plant it here in the subconscious mind, what you've done is plant that idea in universal intelligence. And it is on a frequency. Everything's energy. Everything's on a frequency. And it begins to attract from anywhere in the universe everything that's on that frequency that will help the manifestation of that idea. It controls the vibration you're in. And the vibration you're in is going to dictate how you behave and the actions, the results you get. When you understand how the mind works, you can make phenomenal results in a short time. When you don't, you probably stay stuck all your life. But you see, the subconscious mind is a universal mind. That's universal intelligence. And when you go on there, thanks God, you are attracting from everywhere in the universe whatever is necessary for the manifestation of your idea.
And so, Bob, talk a little bit about just the idea, right? We're in the most interesting times with, I'd say, right, God, the heels of COVID and a lot of people being in lockdown and shut down. I think it's given a lot of people permission to stay there. What I see is a lot of people, even in their ideas, they're not big enough, right? They hesitate to even have an idea or even have a goal or a dream. Speak to those people.
Well, yeah, you see, we're programmed and we've got a paradigm, and the paradigm is controlling our behavior. And what we don't understand is what's really killing us. Our subconscious mind is our paradigm. It's the paradigm's in there, and it controls everything we do. So you're not going to go beyond that. And we've been programmed to stay small. We're programmed, and we've got to break out of the programming. And it's scary, but it's worthwhile. Like when you visualize something with your conscious mind, you're making headway. Yes, we got something. I don't know if we're cut off there. Are we still together, Laurel?
We are good.
Yeah. The paradigm, we're programmed from the time we're infants. The people that are controlling and programming our mind, they're good people, but they don't understand very much about the mind. I was just talking to a very, very successful doctor. And I said, we're taught to live through our senses. We go by what we see, hear, smell, taste, touch. That just puts us in touch with our outside world. We've been gifted with higher faculties. We've got perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. And that's what separates us from all the rest of the animal kingdom. See, all the other little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. They operate by instinct, which is perfect. We had instinct removed and these higher faculties put in their place. Where those little creatures are completely at home in their environment, we're totally disoriented in our environment because we've been given the ability to create our own environment. And we don't understand that. We have a very small picture of ourselves. Our self-esteem is low relative to where it should be. And as our self-esteem expands, as we start to understand ourselves, our whole world changes. I believe you're talking about the best subject to talk about when you talk about money because it can be measured right to the penny. You can't measure health. You can go in, the doctor will tell you you're as healthy as a horse, and you walk out in the street and drop dead. That's happened because you can't measure health. You can't measure hardly anything as accurately as you can measure money. And if you're going to take your growth by what you're earning, you're going to see whether you're growing or not. Most people's income is not going to give them anywhere near what they want in life. If they focused on money, start to understand how to earn money. Hardly anybody understands how to earn money. Maybe 5-6% of the population. Most people think you go to work to earn money, which is absurd. It's the very worst way to earn money. But people don't understand that. If there's any new people on your podcast, you want to sign in and get on the damn thing every day. You see, if you want to learn about money, go to somebody that understands it. Do exactly what they tell you. I was fortunate enough to get a mentor that gave me this book, Think and Grow Rich, when I was 26 years old. He said, do exactly what I tell you until you find out I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. And he said, I want you to read this every day. I've read this every day since I was 26. I'm 87. I've never stopped reading this. And if you want to win, go to people that are winning. I knew Laurel when she first started. She has done nothing but study money for the last, 25, 30 years. What's it been?
25.
25 years. Well, you got to be one of the best in the world at it. And as your podcast scatters all over the world, then they'll start to get the recognition you deserve. But most people don't understand money. They really do not understand it. They haven't gone anywhere near what they need to live the way they want to live. And it's too bad because they can have all they want. All the money in the world is available to you. All you have to do is earn it. And you earn money by providing service. You don't have to work. You can earn money when you're sleeping. You can earn more money when you're sleeping than you could spend when you're awake. I love talking about it.
I love that you talk about it. Bob, I'm going to go back to Think and Grow Rich. For those of you who have not read it, it was the pivotal book when I was 17 years old. I don't even remember how I got to the seminar. Dennis Waitley gave it to me. And then soon after that, I was with Diane, who gave me Born Rich, which is how we met. And, I should say the rest is history, but that created such an open path for really studying Think and Grow Rich. For those who haven't really studied it and read, give us some insight on how to pick up that book. Because that book, I want you to pick up that book and show people again. Look, there's tabs.
Well, here's the book. You can see this. Look it. Here's the book. See that?
Yeah.
Falling apart. Look it. Hold on. Here. The pages are falling out of it.
Love it. Who gets that book on the other side of your life? Your physical life.
I'm taking it with me.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
My life isn't over when I leave, and he told me to read it for the rest of my life. I think your life just really begins when you leave here. No, this is,
this is just
I don't know who will get it.
This is our Earth journey. Give a few tips. How should people read it? I've had people get into it and just say it's so daunting, it's deep. Talk about how you read it, maybe. Give them some insight.
I think a person should read the whole book twice, maybe 3 times. And then they want to take, what are you having the most problem with? Most people have a problem with decision. They don't know how to make decisions. So they should take the chapter on decision and read it every day for maybe 30 or 60 days. And read it with someone. Like, you don't have to be with you. I could get on the phone with you and I could read it with you, where I would read maybe a bunch of lines, I don't know, a page and a half, then I'd say pass. You got to pick up right there and you got to start reading. So that would mean that you're reading even while I'm reading, you're just not reading out loud. And the two of you are reading the whole chapter for 30 or 60 days. Then go to another chapter. You see, this is such a complete book. I mean, there's so much material here. And what you've got to think of what the book is. Scott, can you move the camera back? Look here. You see these books? These here are the laws of achievement. They're the books that Napoleon Hill wrote at the suggestion of Andrew Carnegie. Now, I've got a lot of these books, but they are the ones that he wrote that Carnegie got him to write. Andrew Carnegie was the wealthiest man in the world in 1908. And he said, it's an absolute shame that people like myself, like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, are going to their grave with all the knowledge locked up in their bones. And he asked Hill, he only gave him 60 seconds to answer the question. He said, would you dedicate the rest of your life to an idea for which you would probably receive no material compensation for at least 20 years? In 29 seconds, Hill said, yes, I will. And he charged him to write the laws of achievement. That's what those 6 books are about. Now, he told him, he said, I'm not going to give you any subsistence. He said, this is on your own deal. You got to pay your own way. He said, I will introduce you. I'll give you letters of introduction to the most powerful people in the world. And he interviewed 500 of the world's most powerful people. These were people that really understood what the hell they were doing. And that's where those books came from, and this is where this book came from. It came out of those. So you see, what you're getting is the essence of the best thinking and doing of 500 of the world's most successful people between 1908 and 1928, because that's when he wrote it. I got it in 1961. I've just never stopped reading it. Now, I've earned millions of dollars. And it's a game. Business is a game. Business is not work. Working is when you're doing something you don't like, you don't want to do. But my goodness, if you want to learn how to earn money, listen to what Loral's telling you. Do exactly what she's telling you until you find out she's lying or she doesn't know what she's talking about. Now, she's not going to last long if she's lying or not talking about what she knows. So our problem is we asked the guy next door, Harry, what do you think? Harry hasn't got a brain in his head. He's never read a good book in his life. All he wants is a beer and go and shoot pool. Harry doesn't know. But that's usually where we get our information. We've got to go to people that know, and they demonstrated by results. They know that they know, and they've recorded it in such a way that we can get it and understand it. Hell, I have 2 months high school. I never went to school. I never held a good job. I was bumming around doing nothing until I was 26. And that's when I met Napoleon Hill's book. I met it through Ray Stanford. Then I went to work with Loral Langemeier for 5 years. And that was an education in itself, because he and Hill were great friends.
What a genius. Those of you that are out and just joining us, if you're on social media, we are in a conversation with Bob Proctor, dear friend, longest mentor, and at one point we were business partners. We had a lot of fun. Bob, I share the story a lot of times when we were in, so it wasn't really like an official green room, some hotel room, and you looked at me that day, Mark Meyerdirk was with us, and you said, let's go make $1 million. And that's when we started head of the table. And again, it never ceased to amaze me at the, in my mind, an audacious goal. And I think we ended up doing what, 1.3 that day. Extraordinary goals. Talk about how people do that. Because I know, like when you started our broadcast, those ideas, those big what most people would think big, hairy, audacious goals. To you, that's just like another snap of your fingers, and that's what you trained me to be. But those that are listening don't see it that way. What advice would you tell them? What guidance would you tell them on how to start thinking that way?
Here's the problem. They don't see it that way because of the way they think. Mm-hmm. And you've got to ask yourself, where did you get your thoughts from? Where have you got your direction from? I sat down in 1973, I took my pen, I was sitting on a sofa in a house all by myself in Glenview, Illinois. And I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. I'm sitting in our own studio. I got a call about a month ago. We were broadcasting. We had 93,000 people on the line. And Mikey called me. She's our marketing director. She says, Bob, I thought you'd like to know, we just went into every country in the world. Now, that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. I do millions of dollars worth of business. So if I'm telling you something, you should listen carefully and at least test what I'm telling you. Don't reject it. You don't have to necessarily accept it, but test it. Try it. Sit down and ask yourself, what do I really want? And get all the no's and can'ts out of your mind. What do you really want? I'm not telling you're going to get it. I say, decide what you want. What do you really want? I wanted to build a company and operate it all over the world. Now, that was in 1973. It took me until 2021 to do it. But what the hell? I was going to live those lives anyway, so what's the difference? You've got to sit down and ask yourself, what do you really want? I've got right here in front of me a goal card. You write your goal on the card, and you guess at the date because you don't know how long it's going to take. But it starts out by saying, I am so happy and grateful now that, and you write it in the present tense as if it's already happened. That's where your mind is. On the other side of the goal card is a quote by Loral Langemeier. He said, this great dream, this surging dynamic thing, invisible to all the world, except to the person who holds it, is responsible for every great advance of humankind. And that's true. Take the time, sit down and ask yourself, what do I really want? Forget about what it's going to cost. That's irrelevant. Listen, when Ed Hillary decided to climb to the top of Mount Everest, he didn't know how much it was going to cost, and he didn't know how to get there. And he couldn't ask anybody how to do it because nobody had ever been there. He was a beekeeper in Auckland, New Zealand. Now, I had the fortune of working with him on a couple of occasions. Very nice guy, very ordinary guy. He was a beekeeper from Auckland that wanted to climb mountains. He was the first person to stand on top of Mount Everest. He went there because he wanted to go there. He didn't know how to get there, but he kept working at it. He went in 1951 and he failed. He went in 1952 and he failed. But in 1953, he and Tenzing Norgay, his guide, stood right on top of that mountain. Look at the Wright brothers. They didn't know how to get the plane in the air, and they couldn't ask anybody because nobody had ever been in the air. But they got the plane in the air. They didn't get it there by accident. They got it there because they decided to get it there. What do you really want? Write it down in the present tense and say, by God, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get that. You will, if it's money you need, you'll attract it. If it's other people you need, you will attract whatever is required for you to manifest whatever it is you're holding in your mind. That is an absolute law. That's not just my idea. That is an absolute law. That's the way it works. Listen, Albert Einstein said, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. He said, match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get it. It can be no other way. This is philosophy. This is not philosophy, it's physics. How do you match the frequency of the reality you want? You hold the picture in your mind. You see it in your mind. Mm-hmm. And you move into the vibration that the good that you desire is in. And you start to move towards it, and it starts to move towards you. That's how it works. How long does it take? No one knows. No one knows. You see, the idea in your mind is a spiritual seed. No one knows what the gestation is for a spiritual seed. We know what it is for physical seeds, but not spiritual seeds. This is far too important to treat lightly. This is your life, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Get everything you want. And help other people do the same thing. Quit talking to people that don't know what they're talking about. Quit talking to people who want to put all the ideas down. This won't work, that won't work. I'm going to tell you something. If you get an idea in your mind and hold it, it'll move into form. Loral Langemeier is an example of it. Where she is, her business, it was an idea she had, and she's still going there. And she's talking about climbing the top 50 worldwide. She'll go there. She'll probably go to number 1, because that's where she wants to go.
Absolutely. And you know, the other thing, Bob, I just want to reinforce those of you that are listening. One of the biggest holdbacks, like you said, is not even having the idea and committing to the decision about it. A lot of you that are out there listening, you get hung up in the, but I don't know how. Like Bob didn't know how he was going to broadcast to every country in the world. I didn't know how I was going to get here from little farm girl in Nebraska. So what would you say to those people who are really hung up on the, I got to know how, I got to have the roadmap before I can move? Because a lot of you that are out there can say yes in the chat if you want to get honest with yourself, because I'm coaching a lot of you, and you know, where you are and where you want to be is this roadmap that you all want the certainty of, and there isn't the certainty. What Bob's telling you, I'm going to say it's a spiritual journey, and it's a very committed journey to being in that frequency and knowing what you want. Bob, what would you say to
Let
those?
me show you something here on Loral. We'll throw this up on the screen for a minute, Sky. Here's where most people go. They set a goal. It's an A-type goal. They know how to do it. You say, what's your goal, Harry? It's get a new car. What kind of a car? I'm going to get a Ford. What are you driving now? A Ford. How long you had it? 4 years. How old is it? 4 years old. What's Harry saying? He's knowing how to get a new Ford for 4 years. That's not a goal. See, a goal's not to get. A goal's to grow. So where do you go from there? Well, then they'd usually go to a B-type goal, and that's what they think they can do. If she pays me this and he does that, then we can get there. That's not going to cause you to grow. You've got to learn to stretch. You've got to go where you have never been. Hillary did not know how. Edison didn't know how. None of the real big achievers knew how. A C-type goal is what you really want to do. You don't know how, but you know you will. And that is the big deal. Thanks, Scott. You see, the trick is, what do you want? That's the big deal. Forget about how it's going to happen. That is going to be the part that's the interesting part of the journey. You're finding out how it happens. God, if I told you about my life from the time I was 26, it's been one hell of an interesting journey, believe me. And it's been going after what I wanted. Because I read this book, and that's one of the first things he said. What's your goal? You got to decide on a goal. And most people don't have one.
And Bob,
life can be beautiful.
What is
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you. So talk about some of the greatest achievements as you look back at your journey, your career. You know, we spent years together. I mean, very closely, achieved great things, changed a lot of lives. And then you kind of move on to another one. You move on to another goal, and those goals keep expanding. Talk about some of the greatest, I'd say, achievements.
Well, you know, I had a phone call one day, Laurel. This is a couple of years ago now. I had done seminars for the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company and the Prudential. We raised their sales by hundreds of millions of dollars, literally. We did things that never had happened in those companies before. They were the largest companies in the world. Rudy Michaud run 40% of the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. Big, big company. One day, his daughter said, Dad, isn't that the guy you used to get working? I was on television doing something. And he said, yes. He phoned our office, and he left a message with one of the service girls at that he would like me to phone him. It had been 25 years since I worked with him. He said, Bob, I just wanted to thank you for the good work you did for our company 25 years ago. This is one of the top guys in the company. We did things there they had never thought of doing because we started teaching them about how their mind functions. We did the same in Peru. I did the same with Malaysia Airlines. You know, I've literally worked all over the world with this. And it is absolutely fascinating when we start to think of what we can do. You know, I was a young guy. I had no formal education. I was always broke. I had 2 months high school. I worked at dumb jobs. And here I am now. I actually do seminars to psychiatrists. I do seminars and I coach people for some of the largest companies in the world. People pay me $250,000 to coach them 1/2 hour a week for 6 months. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because I've never stopped studying this. It's such good information. Here's the idea. There's the book, You Were Born Rich. Well, the truth is you are born rich. Most people are just a little short of money. And if you keep tuning into Loral, you're on every week, are you, Loral?
On every week. Every Friday, a new broadcast on our podcast comes out.
You what? I missed it.
So every Friday, we have a new broadcast. So we are on every week for about 30 minutes or so. So they need to subscribe to Real Money Talks podcast. And we've been doing it now right at 2 years, our 100th podcast.
Well, that's amazing. That is really amazing. Think of the number of people that, see, there's all kinds of people that you've transformed their life and you don't even know it because they tuned in, they don't talk to you, they just go and do what you tell them. And it's so important. This is the most important information you can get because it really controls your life. And let's face it, life is really short. It should be good and it can be good. I think it can be absolutely phenomenal if we go about it the right way, you know.
Yeah, Bob, I have a girl out in the chat, Ashley. She said she was my Lyft driver in Dallas years ago. Isn't that funny? And started following me. So you never know where you're going to meet people. Ashley, it's great to see you out here. And a lot of you, like, what's your gift and talent? What do you need to do? What's your big decision that you want to make? And how are you going to change the world?
You know what I found out, Laurel? That's a darn good question. Most people don't know what their gift and talent is. I have found out if they ask themselves, what would I really love doing? That's where they're going to find the gift and their talent. I was watching a woman one time on television. She had been a dancer in a chorus line in Las Vegas. And she knew she wasn't a good enough dancer to be the star. And she decided she just didn't want to dance in the chorus forever. She loved baking pastry. She quit dancing. She moved to France, got a job working with some of the greatest pastry chefs in the world. When I was seeing her interviewed, she was one of the greatest pastry chefs in the world. You decide what you love, that's where your talent lies. We obviously love sharing this information, and we're pretty good at it. That's where our talent lies. And I think that's how you do it. Sit down, do what Loral says. What do I really love doing? What is my talent? What is my real talent? We're all hardwired to do something absolutely incredible. And I believe that's true. I think Diane taught me that, Diane Armitage. She said one time that we're all hardwired to do something really special. And I believe she's true.
I believe it too. She's the beautiful woman who introduced us. So that was a fun time.
Yeah.
I remember being at the ranch up on a ropes course, and we got down one night and we were getting ready to go to bed, and Diane's, tucked under her covers with a little light on. I'm like, what are you doing? We just had like an intense day on the ranch. And she said, I got to read it. I said, what are you reading? She said, Born Rich. Have you heard of Bob Proctor? And I'm like, no, I've never heard of Bob Proctor. And she said, well, we're going to call him right now. We called you from the ranch, I think that next morning. So, all of you have all these magical moments in front of you, but you got to make a decision. I'd like to challenge you now to put out in the chat right now, what's the decision you're going to make? And let's hear some real definitive like decisions. What is your goal? put it out in the chat. Let's hear from all of you that are out here in this conversation with Bob. And those of you that want to ask a question, I'll ask it through the chat if you have any questions for Bob. And again, Bob, I so appreciate you being out here. I mean, from the path we have walked to being here and celebrating, and I just appreciate and thank you for being here on my 100th podcast. It's kind of an interesting time. Like, you started the podcast because it's just another medium to get the word out. And then when you really start seeing, the subscribers and the people that are following and the lives you're changing, it gets more and more inspiring. So, now as we look forward to the podcast, it's, richer and richer interviews and more content to share with our subscribers.
Loral, I will, we're going to send you a link, and you can give everybody the You Were Born Rich book.
Perfect.
They can download it.
All right.
They're sending you a link.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. That link is actually in my I actually interviewed Bob. He's been on our podcast, and we had a 2-part series, and inside those show notes. So this makes you go out and get my podcast, and we will rebroadcast it out to all of the listeners that subscribed for our broadcast today. So thank you, Bob, for that. Excited. And I'm just going to see in the chat, we're getting a lot of goals out here, getting some questions. Let's see. Reprogram my old and outdated paradigm, which is of no value. That would be true. All of you need to start your own business. Specific. So maybe do one last piece on specific goal setting, Bob, because I'm just seeing some generic ideas, and that's not going to get them there, right? So not to pick on any of you, but some of you, just it's too generic, right? Starting a business, buying a piece of real estate. How would you clean that up and tighten up those goals, Bob?
Well, first of all, the goal has to be something they really want, and it's better if they don't know how to get it. What you're doing, if you put the screen on, Scott, we're saying here, this R represents where I am. This star represents where I'm going. Now, there's all kinds of stops here. You'll find that if that were the top of Mount Everest, you got to get to base camp first. These things here that you're looking at here, all these, they're not the big deals that you're going after. This is the big deal you're going after here. And you probably won't know how to get it. That makes it even better. But you make up your mind, that's where you're going. You write it out. Now, the win, the side of this is you're going to collect all of these things on the way. All of these things will fall into place as you go en route, or as you fall into in the line as you go up there. Each time you move ahead, you get this, and something else, and something else, and something else. And one day you're going to wake up, and you're going to be there. And that's going to be a phenomenal day. Then you got to set another one. You've always got to set a goal that you're going to reach for, that you don't know how to get, but you've got to be specific, and you've got to put it in writing. That's why I give out these goal cards. You write the date is the date you're guessing. Now, I've been out by a year and a month. I set a goal one time for October the 15th. I didn't get it until the end of November the following year. And that happens. You just totally off track on how long it's going to take. All seeds have a gestation or an incubation period. And when it comes to a goal is a seed. It's a spiritual seed. And we don't know how long it's going to take. A carrot seed, where I live, is around 70 days. You come from Nebraska, how long does it take for wheat to grow, Laurel? I don't know. 90, 120 days, something like that? I know a baby is 280 days. We don't know how long it takes for a spiritual seed. And that's what a goal is. A goal, you tap into pure, unadulterated spirit, and you let it flow into your consciousness, and you build the picture of what you really want. It'll warm your heart. It really turns you on. And then every day you're waking up, you're working towards what you want. You never have a bad day, because every day you're moving closer to what you want. And you get all kinds of prizes as you move towards it.
And the last part of that is, so as you move toward it, talk about the obstacles that will, and I don't even know.
Oh yeah, well listen, you're going to, You're going to get a lot of obstacles. But what you've got to understand, the obstacles are not bad things, they're good things. You got to get toughened up. You don't get to that star the way you are. You got to be a hell of a lot stronger than you are right now. The wins, the things that you win at don't strengthen you. It's where you lose. It's where you have trouble. It's where everything goes wrong and you keep on going. The hell, I'm going to keep on going. That's how you get stronger. And you got to get stronger. You got to earn the right to be on that higher goal. You don't get there just because you stuck with it. You stuck with it through thick and thin, and you strengthened yourself, and you earned the right to enjoy it.
I'm going to let you go on that. Bob Proctor, you are amazing. I could talk to you for hours, as always. I'm going to come see your brand new house. Excited that you're moving in. I love that my 100th day of my 100th podcast day and your move-in date are the same date. So we'll remember this end of July.
Loral, I want to congratulate you on the wonderful work you've done over many, many years. You're one of the best in your business. I'm glad we're friends. And anytime I can come on, do anything for you, all you have to do is pick up the phone or send me a text and I'll be there.
I know, I appreciate you, Bob. Thank you so much.
You're a sweetheart. Thanks, Loral. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you, Bob. Love you. Those of you that are out there, again, we will get the link from Bob and we will embed it in the podcast show notes. So we need you to go out and subscribe to the podcast. That's how you're going to get the free book. And the other thing you're going to get, like even today, coming at the end of August will be Peter Sage. Do not miss it. He has a book out that he's giving through his podcast. So a lot of our podcast guests give extraordinary gifts, some that you can't get anywhere else other than listening through their interviews. So you either have to follow them very closely. A lot of these people too, you might not know their name. I think of like Mike Aldine, I think of, Michelle, I think of Dora. Like there are so many people that I've interviewed in the last 2 years that are just world class. You may not know who they are because they're, not that big media name. Join our podcast, make sure you've subscribed. The biggest gift you could give, as Thomas said early on, is a review. A review is the actual scorecard of podcasts. So for me to get in that top 50 ranked podcasts around the world, it's reviews. And also just, get more and more people listening to it. So hit the notification button. So every week when it comes out, you're notified, and share it with somebody every week. Much appreciated. And how'd you all like Bob? How many of you put a yes if it's the first time that you've ever heard Bob? And that was a live broadcast. This is not a pre-record. How many of you put a yes if this is your first, I'm going to say live appearance with Bob, because that's about as live as you're going to get in these day and age, especially in Canada. He's one of the lockdown provinces in Canada. Perfect. And we will be bringing more. So look at that, a lot of first timers. So hope he changed and affected you. Those of you that are clients of mine, I see a lot of you that are clients of mine. We're going to get to work on your goal. And it's always great to have this frame of what a goal really is. And I look at Tim out there, Friedenberger, right? We're going to build a big plastic recycling business. How it's going to get there, I don't know. You don't know. But that's part of the journey, right? Through head to the table and what's going to get made up. Super excited about it. Those of you that were listening in today, again, we're going to get you, if you've not attended ever, we have a marketplace where we're going to teach you to make money. As Bob said, just listen to, and I'm not going to say listen to me, like this work that I've created is really spawned out of what Robert Kiyosaki, Sharon Lechter, Keith Cunningham. I mean, there was a body of my original mentors where I put together those pieces into what I think makes a fairly simple model on how you become millionaires. Teresa said, I want to be the first millionaire in my family. I was the first millionaire in my family, Teresa, so let me take you there, right? So we know the how-to, and we are the who, right? So right now you just have to make a decision and we will help walk you there. A big part of that first step is you got to learn to make money. So whether the marketplace was a little rough for you or not, sometimes you have to come back 2 or 3 times. So let's put the phone number in, call our office. We have some brand new folks in our office that are answering our phones, and talk to our amazing team here and tell them that you are here. You are on Bob's broadcast. You want to attend the marketplace. For some odd reason, you can't just move your day. And again, I would just challenge you. What's more important than you starting the steps towards getting your goal and earning the money that Bob just talked about? So join us from 10 to 6 on Thursday, 10 to 3 on Friday. It's a free gift but we do need a commitment. So the team here will talk about what it takes to really be committed. And through that, you will also have a chance to talk to our team one-on-one. And let's begin this journey of making and earning money, as Bob talked about. The basis of all of my work obviously has what Bob talks about in it. He was my core mentor and taught me all of this. And so when you start living it is when you're going to see your life change. Amazing things will happen. And you can resist it, stay the same, or have what you want in your life. So let's put the link. I know we have a link out there for the marketplace. Oh, it is right there. There we go. So you go to askloral.com/100, meaning you were here on our 100th podcast, and take advantage of our free offer for our ticket. Bring a guest. I love this work. I love teaching you how to make money. And those of you who have been struggling with it, just stop the struggle, stop the resistance, and stop at talking to your neighbors and friends and family about it. Lean in and learn right here, and let us help you make some real money. And those of you who have been before, the team will assess whether it makes sense for you to come back, and we're excited to have you. So super celebration. This is going to become a podcast. It will re-air on Friday in our podcast schedule. And then we have several more coming. Glenn Ledwell is a 2-part version on internet marketing, and then how to do affiliate and joint venture marketing. And then after that will be Peter Sage, the gentleman I just interviewed today. Excited. Those of you in the big table, head of the table, we will be having him back for sure. Just extraordinary man who's spent some time in prison, not by any criminal doing. So try to figure that one out. So I'm not going to tell you what happened until you sign up. So again, more of you go sign up. And even if you've already signed up before, do it again and at least get back in touch with our team. We're here to support, here to help, and we'll be back. So every Tuesday, 12 noon is askloral.com. It is our market awareness broadcast. We bring all sorts of people back. The market is in flux. Talk about the market. Kelly Korsick will be back. I'll have him in the next week or two because you're seeing some volatility in the market, and what do you do about it? And we have a big cryptocurrency class, digital currency class coming in August, taught by Kelly himself. So if you haven't heard about that, make sure you come back. Put this in your calendar as a must-see, must-have. Sometimes these broadcasts on Tuesday at 12 noon are 20 minutes. Sometimes they're almost an hour like they were today, because I bring an amazing guest to you. So we're here to serve and here to help you. My team on our side, Steve, I know a bunch of people did put in who they want me to interview in the chat. I wasn't writing them down because I was focusing on the broadcast. Let's make sure we grab some of those. I think we can make most of those dreams come true for all of you. And stay in touch. And Thomas, thanks for being out here. And anything else we need to wrap up? We have the link. See you at the marketplace, 12 o'clock broadcast. Podcast #1 reason to be here today. Come follow me week by week by week.
Sounds good. Thank you, Laura. Congratulations on the 100th episode. We'll see all you later this week at the event.
Thank you. Have a great day, y'all.
Thanks for listening to the Real Money Talks podcast. Your host has been Loral Langemeier, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View. Want to learn more about off-Wall Street investing, tax strategies, and multi-million-dollar business strategies? Visit liveoutloud.com/podcast for past episodes, show notes, and resources. For some special wealth-building gifts only for Loral's podcast listeners, visit liveoutloud.com/podcast gifts. Do you have a burning question for Loral? Visit askloral.com to submit your question, and it may just be covered on a podcast episode. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to get new episodes every week.